If you have your Bibles or your phones, let us turn to the Gospel of Mark, chapter 13. Let us go to the Lord in prayer. Our Father, I come before you through the Lord Jesus Christ and the Holy Spirit. Lord, let me preach Christ. Give me grace to be faithful. Give me grace to obey your word. I worship you, Lord. And apart from you, I have nothing to say that it may be a blessing to this people. So I pray, Father, that you will honor your Son you may be lifted up, praised, glorified. And Father, I pray that you will open our hearts to see what your word says. It may penetrate our hearts. Truth, Father, truth. I pray, Father, that you would remove the tendencies of the flesh, that wantingness to draw attention to oneself. Father, truth, your word, let it be your word proclaimed. Bring us to conformity to your will this night. We ask for the sake of Christ and for his body, the church. You will bring unity to us in the truth, in spirit. We ask collectively as a body of Christ in one accord these things, Father. Amen. Thank you. Mark chapter 13, verse 1. As he was going out of the temple complex, one of his disciples said to him, "Teacher, look, what a massive stones, what impressive buildings." This is in reference to the temple. It must have looked solid, impressive from a human point of view. Immovable, secure. And Jesus said, Do you see these great buildings? I'll tell you, not one stone will be left here on top of another that will not be thrown down. Now, by this statement, you got to understand that Jesus is tearing apart any sense of assurance that they may have in their religion. You see, in this passage, as we will see, Jesus is moving the focus. You got to think Jewish for a little bit here. This is the temple. The temple of the Lord. The temple of the Lord. The temple of the Lord. Peace, peace, peace. But Jesus moving the focus from the Temple Mount, which was the Jewish symbol of hope and stability, the symbol of the presence of God, the old covenant to us, but the only covenant to them. Now, Jesus is redirecting their attention to the sovereignty of God. He wants them to know that God is in control of all the future and He has a plan. But Jesus is not simply doing away with the old system, but rather He is unveiling for them the other part of the sovereign plan of God. You see, in this passage, Jesus unites both the Old Testament and the New Testament. He uses a term in this passage, the Son of Man. The prophet Daniel uses this terminology. In Daniel 7, chapter 13 and 14, Daniel said, I saw in the night visions, and behold, with the clouds of heaven there came one like the Son of Man. He came to the Ancient of Days and was presented before Him. And to Him was given dominion and glory and a kingdom that all peoples, nations, and languages should serve Him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and His kingdom one that shall not be destroyed. Now, it is obvious from the Jewish perspective that the intention of the Lord Jesus in this passage is to be interpreted in a Jewish fashion, and that's the fulfillment of the Old Covenant. I'm saying this as a way of introduction to this passage because it is very important for us to understand this in order for us to grasp what this passage is saying. Now, the purpose of this passage is not to set dates. This passage has been abused many times by many people. They used to set dates. You see, this passage is not to, the purpose is not to set dates, not for us to speculate. It is obvious by the context that the purpose of Jesus is to prepare His disciples and for them and us to place our trust in the sovereignty of God. Now, we pay attention, we will see that in the midst of all these terrifying events that He's about to disclose to His disciples, there are some attitudes and principles that Jesus wants His disciples and all believers to have. In the light of the impending second coming, in the light of the end of the age, there is an understanding and an attitude that is intended in this passage for all disciples and all believers. guiding principles, which are the reason for this passage, will help us to understand and deal with today's worldly, the way we look upon life. Can I use the one in the back?
Is that one on? Did you, is it, check, see the green, is the green light on?
No. No.
Push the button.
I think the battery's low. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So, first, allow me to suggest to you that you don't look upon this passage through your Western eyes, through your culture. Let us take a more Eastern approach. Let us think Jewish for a little bit. You see, we think in Western culture, we think in a linear timetable, chronologically speaking. So when we read this passage, we think that Jesus is actually giving us a chronological timetable. But let us think more like in a spiral. Do not think about these things in a chronological pattern, but rather think of a collage. You know, all these things are in the future from the disciples' perspective, but we're talking about different times, different places. And sometimes this is known in theology as the repetitive way, and that is that something takes place in a small scale at one point in time, and then it takes a different place in another time in a bigger scale. Anyways, but we must remember that it's not my purpose to set days, not to dissect the prophetical part of it, because I don't want us to start a riot here, you know, because it's always the case. But let us hold on to prophecy with loose hands, because there's different things. You will agree with me, right? It's different. It's not worth it to divide the church over rapture or no rapture, right? So it's not the point. So let us see verse 3. Mark verse 3. While he was sitting on the Mount of Olives, across from the temple complex. Now, I have not, but I know that some of you have been there. By the wonder of technology, I have seen virtually this. Right across the temple complex, you see the Kidron Valley. So you have the massive structure, the temple, but right in between is the Kidron Valley. And so he's sitting in the Mount of Olives looking towards the temple. So Peter, James, and John, and Andrew asked of him privately. They say, tell us, when will these things happen, and what will be the sign when all these things are about to take place? Now the parallel account in Matthew chapter 24 verse 3, we see that actually there are three main questions to this passage. He says, they say, tell us, when will these things be? Number one, and what will be the sign of your coming? And what would be the sign of the end of the age? Three questions. Now, Jesus began by telling them, now here comes the first principle. This is very important for us to understand, because this is the core. This is what he wants us to grasp. This is the attitude that we must maintain in the light of all these things. He says this, watch out. Look, that no one deceives you. And the Greek word in the original gives the idea of practice discernment. It says, look, pay attention, be alert. Now the Lord begins by calling his disciples to practice discernment in order to face the end of these things. Now just just to pass in right quick through here. You see, today this practice of discernment, it is looked in the church as a anti-Christian attitude. It is considered the practice of discernment as a unloving thing to do. Now, the reason for Christ calling them to discernment is in verse 6. Listen to what it says. It says, "For many will come in my name." This is the reason. The reason he's calling them to practice discernment is because he says, "Many will come in my name, saying, I am he, and they will deceive many." I believe that in this passage, he's not only referring to somebody showing up and saying, "Oh, I'm Jesus," but I think it's also referring to someone that comes under the false pretenses of being a disciple with the purpose of deceiving, a wolf in sheep's clothes. Like Paul said to the church in Ephesus, he says to them, "I wash my hands from your blood because I taught you the sound doctrine, but there will be wolves that will rise from among yourselves, drawing to themselves disciples." This is the spirit of the Antichrist. The Antichrist not only means against, but also in place of. So we must be careful. This is the reason why he says, "Many will come in my name." That is, they will say they're Christians. You will teach false doctrine. Number 7, it says, "When you hear wars and rumors of wars, don't be alarmed. These things must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise up against nations and kingdom against kingdoms. There will be earthquakes in various places and famines. These are the beginnings of birth pains." Now in verse 9, again, he repeats the same principle. He says, "But you." So you see the contrast. You see the contrast here. You see the world is going crazy. Like my friend Bruce was telling me, what was that? The world is going to hell in a handbasket. What was that expression? What is the attitude that Christ calls Christians to have? You. This is the disciples. The immediate application of this is he's telling to the disciples, "But you, be alert, be on your guard." The Greek word blepo means you be alert, watch out. Now the world will be falling apart. This conveys the idea of being ready and understand the consequences and be prepared for them. Now listen to what he says. "They will hand you over to the councils, and you will be flogged in the synagogues. You will stand before governors and kings." Now let me ask you a question. Why? Why? Why do this? It doesn't sound appealing. Not to me. Why? The end of the verse says, "Because." Now this is the core. This is, you see, I pray that God will allow us to see this. This is the reason. This is the reason of our preaching. This is the reason of our efforts. This is why we do this. Because of Him. He is the reason.